All right. Hello. Can you hear me okay? Audio coming through fine? Cool. Think it, well, according to the OBS, it's fine. Hopefully it's streaming okay. That's uh that's the big hope. Okay, I get this is the first stream with the new layout and stuff. Um there's other stuff. It's not just this. Obviously over time I might want to just wanted to stylize it in a way that's my aesthetic. Uh, so because I'm essentially going to, not personalize, but I'm going to show a bit of my other things in my head and start branching out. Kind of like I mentioned, if you saw the post on the server, if you saw the post on Patreon, if you saw the, I don't know if I said it anywhere else, I think that was it. Oh, or the video that I posted earlier explaining sort of vaguely what it is I want to do and why it is that I'm going to like decrease just like the emphasis on Schizoid PD and talking about it and advocating solely for that. For those that didn't see it, basically it sums up to I hit a wall. There's really not much else I could say. And after a few years of trying really hard to get a hold of the right people, with content creator and professionals, have discussions, and then try to create something more active, like proactive with it. It's just, it doesn't look like it's in like a cards yet. I think I have to kind of emphasize growing the channel itself before I can really have the influence over some of these things I advocate for regarding schizoid PD, therapy, and neurodivergency and stuff like that. So as much as like I have a deep passion for those things, it's too niche, and the demographic that watches me regarding that is not exactly like the most proactive kind. So they're not really like have a lot of social media presence, so they're not like posting links everywhere. They're not there isn't a lot like of room for growth in just that direction. And my intention for growth is to be able to accomplish some of the things I care about. You have a Substack. I feel like a lot of topics of your live streams could translate well into articles. That might be true. I've never I'm not a writer, I'll be honest. I can write, I just don't like writing. I'm a speaker. I went to school, I got a master's, I know how to write, Chicago style, I know how to do all that stuff, and it burns me out. It's too slow. But in the future, there are people I know that are writers, so working with them or reading their stuff, I wouldn't mind reading stuff. It could be really interesting, really good shit that way. Now at any point while I start this thing, you can ask any questions you want. You can talk about what I'm gonna show. You can talk about angst. Why the hell did you do this? Are you like betraying the schizoids or something? Like, I can't imagine any actual Zoid feeling that way. But they might be annoyed with the direction I'm taking it in. And no, it's not because like, oh man, I'm gonna make buku bucks doing this. I doubt it's gonna really make it grow that much, but the channel hasn't grown for like 2 years because of it's just too niche. It's too specific. And unfortunately, it's just not a topic that has a lot of as far as getting people's attention. I tried for a few years. But I think if I can get some pull using other things, then I can start kind of sneaking in some of my, interest in helping Zoids, stuff like that. I think it's a better direction. We'll see. It also increases the chances that I won't burn out all crazy, because part of why I was burning out to begin with was because I kept like hitting the wall and doing things that felt like an action or act of futility, of like trying to get a hold of people, DMing people, emailing people, all this sort of stuff. Oh, I'll get back to you in 2 months. Oh, we'll see if we can talk in 3 months. Oh, and it just never works out, doesn't happen, schedules don't work, all this sort of stuff. And so it's just, I would have stuff planned out, and I'm like, okay, I want to do this, and I want to do a video on this particular Schizoid article, and I got to talk to this person. And, if somebody goes, oh, well, no, that's not going to happen, like a week or two before I, wanted to do it, and I prepare for it, I have questions ready, and then, like, it just doesn't happen, I just wasting time. Well, Rational Savage. So if you're looking for Schizoid related content where I talk about specific things, there's plenty of videos where I've talked about different things. There are streams. You can tell by the title which ones are like more focused on certain things. I think there's one particular stream that's I think a lot of people liked, Schizoid specifically, at the end of the video that I posted, where I talk about how there's more to the person that has the PD than the PD itself, and what that means, and how to separate yourself from, discovering I'm schizoid. It doesn't mean, okay, that's all I am, and I have to resign myself to like a poor prognosis and like all this other shit, or I have to be like a hermit because there's no way for me to socially function in a way that's rewarding, like separating that shit. And because I have in the past noticed that when a schizoid finds out about this, and it's like it matches up, and it's like finally a thing that makes sense to my experience, they'll latch onto it because there isn't very much they could latch onto or connect to. And so, when someone is connection starved, and I'm not even just talking like human connection, but like just relatability and connection starved, they'll latch on to things and like kind of not move forward often. But anyway, I'm not going to get back into that. All right, guys. Well, I know the layout's a little weird right now. This is what I like. I can change the colors. It doesn't always have to be red. I can definitely change it to different colors. I personally love red and black. Red and black motifs and shit like that. For those that don't know the references, actually I can't point to them, but yes, there's a few. If you're curious enough to ask about them, then do so. Okay. And also, I'm hoping that I'll get more engagement in chat if I'm not talking about, like, shit that hits too personally all the time. And I think, I want to know what the Zoids that watch this think about, experience. I want to hear their opinions on whatever subject I'm covering. I want them to disagree with me. I want them to whatever they want to do. All right. Let me move on here. We're already like 7:07, so let's go. Well, I need more engagement so that I could help more people active, because it's just not gonna happen. Yeah, I mean, it's the algo. That's how it works. You're doing a bunch of live streams where nobody's saying anything in chat. It's probably gonna affect shit, which is dumb, but it is what it is. I don't care if they just spam nonsense. I'm kidding. Don't do that. All right, so this was kind of a new thing, but hopefully I can wing it. So I will not be scripting as usual. I'm just a rambling rambler. If it's a video or something, maybe, but scripting is just not something I do. I'm very stream of consciousness, but I'm going to work a little harder on trying to keep things on task and a little more concise. As far as like me not going off on too many crazy tangents. Shut up, Shadow. I know that's you. Yeah, you've been, well, you like, imagine somebody's just been subbed here for like ever, and they're like, finally, he's gonna talk about something else. I'm gonna be talking about just about anything I want to talk about. So the two things that I chose today to react to, or what have you. Honestly, I was excited listening to him and also falling asleep. Well, there you go. If you can use me as ASMR, that's perfectly fine with me. That's sleep. I know a lot of Zoids out there deal with insomnia, shit like that. Anyway, so the two things that I chose today that I want to watch, and I want you guys to watch, and I want to talk about a little bit, because I'll go for about an hour or so, so I didn't choose anything too crazy long. And then at the end of the two videos that I want to go over, and by the way, I don't care about if a video is new or old. This occasionally I'm going to be like talking about a current event or something, but I'm not really going to emphasize that. It's just going to be what is like I feel pertinent, what is useful, what is something I haven't brought up or discussed, and if I can connect it to current events, I will. I'm very much in the know when it comes to like geopolitical nonsense and everything going on, because I'm just that kind of idiot. I'm kidding. It doesn't make you an idiot, but it does make you very stressed out and confused. Well, maybe not confused, just maybe not even that. Maybe not even stressed out. I don't know. Depends on the news, I guess. All right, so this first one. Now, some of you might have seen it in the server. I'm not sure. Some of you might have just scrolled over it. I think it's incredibly important. It's kind of goofy, it's simple, but it says one of the most basic things that doesn't ever like get fully discussed, and I feel like it's one of those really important things that even high schoolers should be taught this, right? Like this should not be a college course, and they don't really like fully discuss this even then, because you have the professors and teachers doing it themselves. But there is no like high school, unless maybe in Europe or something, but not in the United States. There is no high school course on like good communication, and a variety of things that like lead to bad communication between human beings, especially regarding things that are emotionally sort of confused. And no, I'm not one of those guys that's going to say, oh, emotions are dumb, it's all logic and reason and stuff. No, that's not me. That might have been me in my 20s, but that is definitely not me now. But in any case, let's get going. So this is on a channel called Honkology. Some of you might have seen it, maybe some of you haven't. If you haven't seen this channel or subscribed to it, it's not insanely big, and it's really, 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 really fucking good. And they have a lot of subjects and a lot of things. I might come back to this channel another time in the future, because they just have a lot of great stuff on it. It's very kind of ADHD friendly, which is cool for me. And I'm going to show you the two videos, and then a little theme or a little thing I want to do at the end of each stream is to show you, because I'm like a raccoon, or like a fucking, I'm just a trash monster, like a trash baby person that like likes to look for like weird novelty and just unknown shit on YouTube. And so I want to share like quickly after these two like channels I found that I was like, oh, this is kind of cool and strange. Nobody's watching it really that much at all, and I think it's cool. So that's going to be like a little tidbit thing that if you watch to the end, I guess you can enjoy, or you might just think it's stupid. But either way, I'm fine with it. All right, so let's see if this works properly. Gotta get my setup here. See how the audio is.
Two geese, goose and other goose. Goose finds a fact, solid, verifiable, breadcrumbs certified. Goose holds it out to other goose. Other goose flaps, scoffs, calls it fake bread, and honks louder. Not because other goose hates truth, but because it made them feel exposed, threatened, wrong. And in some ponds, being wrong is worse than being dishonest. Number one.
So, I don't know how many experiences you guys have had with this sort of stuff. This is something that I've experienced for a significant part of my life. Especially when, it was especially bad when I was in college. And I had to deal with this sort of stuff with even like professors, you know, at the time, like, at least 50% older than me. And it always confused me because as like, my neurodivergent ass, always sort of thought like, okay, why do you need to get upset about something if like you can back it with evidence? Like, why is that such a problem? Right. And obviously I have a much better understanding, but at the time I was totally naive, completely like ignorant of what it is that was happening to these other people. When I was younger, I just thought, oh, they're stupid. No, there's a lot going on. This video does not explain it all, obviously, but it kind of goes over some of those basics. And I'll be honest, even people that notice this sometimes do it themselves. I've been guilty of this sort of stuff in the past before. I know what topics I could see like a nice amygdala hijack in my brain. And yeah, anyway.
Why facts backfire.
Oh, sorry if it's cut off. I was going for the CRT kind of thing, but like didn't work with the picture. So if part of the image is cut off a little bit, whatever. It's more about the audio to be honest.
Goose thought facts were enough. But brains aren't spreadsheets. They're nests. Messy, layered, emotional. And when you throw a fact into the wrong nest, it doesn't get adopted. It gets set on fire. This is called motivated reasoning. Other goose doesn't weigh info evenly. They defend what makes them feel safe, not what's true, what's familiar. Number two, belief equals identity. Some beliefs are facts, some are armor. Questioning them feels like tearing feathers off your own wings, because in many ponds, to change your mind is to lose your flock. Other goose doesn't reject the data because it's wrong. Other goose rejects it because if it's right, they might lose their friends, their family, their entire pond. And that hurts more than a lie.
So, yes. I don't really feel like I relate to a lot of the stuff that's being described on, the other end. But I have definitely experienced it quite a bit. Some stuff, yes, I have experienced, but especially the social one that just got described here with, I think it was number 3. There tends to be this, like, how is reasoning based on feels and identity not stupid? Because it's something that human beings kind of instinctively do, and you have to sort of educate yourself out of it. Except for if you're a weirdo like me, who's like a neurodivergent and shit. I'm sure there's a lot of autists too that are like, what? This is just reasonable things that this person is saying in this video. That is not what happens most of the time. Because there's a lot of emotional attachments to like all sorts of social stuff and all sorts of like social connections to the information and how it affects the relationships with people and things like that, right? In number 3, it's basically describing that, like, say you have you really love mom and dad, right? And mom and dad have an opinion that they feel emotionally strongly about, or mom and dad, or sister or brother or best friend is being negatively impacted by like a piece of legislation, right? Um, it seems like for a lot of people that will take precedent over anything else, right? My brother-in-law is being negatively affected by this piece of legislation, thus it's bad. If I don't support that it's bad, I may lose that relationship with the brother-in-law because that same person is going to do a similar thing. Even someone as intellectualized as Schizoid does this stuff. It's human nature. Yes. The difference is that I think a lot of Schizoids might do this slightly less because they've just spent so much time questioning their own like sense of truth and identity. So when your sense of identity is just all shaky and weird, you tend to have an easier time questioning things that can make you have a lot less things in your like repertoire of stuff that can make you feel fear and shame because somebody's giving you information that counters your idea. So I'm not saying they're big smart brain. It's just saying that like when you're already kind of emotionally detached and you're on top of that, you're kind of your identity is not quite secure. That's huge understatement. It's a lot easier to like rearrange your thoughts on stuff. But definitely, no, this still occurs, but it'll usually be like very specific niche things, especially for Zoids, that they and what's interesting too is that with Zoids, I know, and I'm talking about Zoid, but when because of the emotional detachment, when they this happens, they might not even recognize it's occurring. And if you tell them it's occurring, they might go, no, that's not happening. And then it would actually make them think about it later. And it would likely make them very uncomfortable because they would oftentimes like to think of themselves as somebody that makes decisions and isn't very emotionally attached to them all the time. But yes, it's definitely anyone can fall prey to this sort of stuff. But in any case, I lost my point. There was another point, but whatever.
Number 3, shame, pride, and the backfire loop. Other goose isn't evil. Other goose is scared. Because saying, I was wrong, isn't just hard. It feels humiliating. And shame is a loud honk that drowns out reflection. Better to double down than feel small. So other goose stays convinced. Not because it's true, but because it's safer. Number 4.
So, that one especially. So this is what's interesting. The different ones that he's talking about, some would be more applicable to my experiences and others maybe yours. But the feeling of lack of safety. So if maybe I don't know, I'm just saying like if the position if I'm getting some cognitive dissonance and stuff because the position that the other person is putting forward might put into question my autonomy or my ability to like control my life and things like that, right? Let's just say you're a Zoid and somebody's talking about like how there is no free will, right? And yes, there's like, back and forth, whatever, but maybe some Zoids would have like a hard time dealing with that because of their sensitivity to autonomy, to be told that you have none, right? There might be some kind of emotional reaction to that. They may cause you to kind of do some of this stuff that's being described. But like I said, the social ones, not so much for Zoids. But in general, these are like things that one should keep in mind when you're like, even when you're on the internet and like, if you come across somebody that you're like, you consider yourself somebody that generally wants to be truth seeking, right? And you come across somebody and you're like, no, this is what happened. And then they start using all kinds of fallacies and stuff like that. And you're doing your best to not use them. It's better to conceptualize them as somebody that's just like freaked out or uncomfortable or reacting from a place of like discomfort, like shame or fear of being wrong, of being told that something they're emotionally invested in is incorrect and now they have to reconstruct it. That's not an easy thing to do for a lot of people. That's why I was saying that with Zoids, maybe they have a slightly easier time doing that because they don't have a super emotional. They're not as super emotionally connected to a structure of the self yet. And they don't necessarily have to be in that way. But anyway, that's a whole different concept.
Echo chambers and cult ponds. Some geese live in info bubbles. Every honk they hear agrees with them. Any breadcrumb that doesn't gets called propaganda, just like with cults. We got the wrong prophecy date? No problem.
Speaking of which, I don't know how many you heard. Today was supposed to be the rapture. Didn't happen again. And I had told a friend of mine that's in a much forward time zone, hey, hit me up if the rapture happens since you're like a day ahead. And their response was, can confirm it happened. And cool, I don't have to worry about looking for a job. Um, uh, yes.
We misread the stars. The real honk is deeper. Conspiracies. Counter evidence is seen as proof of how powerful they are. They're hiding the truth. That's why you're showing me this. Politics. Fact check other goose's favorite goose, and suddenly you're the problem. You're biased. You hate our pond. It's not about facts. It's about allegiance and fear and shame. Also, info bubbles, they don't build themselves. The algorithm sees what riles you up, then serves more of it, spicier, louder, and angrier.
So, yeah, there was a lot of like ideas there, kind of like mushed in one. But they, like I said, they tried to keep it short and sweet, unlike me. But before I get into the algo stuff, it was the what was it? Let me just look at the picture. Oh, the conspiracy part, right? So I like that it's mentioning, right? And this is the thing. I am not a person, right? Because that in and of itself would be another problem where somebody questions narrative, and some of their theories are a little like a little out there. My reaction is to go, okay, present the evidence. Show me how valid this is. Because if it is valid, I do not put it past corporations and the state and everything else doing really fucking elaborate, stupid shit to get agendas going because they've already done it. There's a history of it. There's enough FOIA requests to entertain you for the rest of your life, that show it. And it's not something that just happened in the past and they don't do that anymore. It's something that continues to occur all the time. Now, one of the issues is that some people take it a few steps too far, where they stop caring about, is there anything I can point to? Is there any kind of logical consistency? How much connection is there between this thing and this thing? Is it that disparate or not? And I'm not even talking shit about that happening to you because that's what happens in my brain. I consider myself macro-associative. I got like schizo brain, right? And I'm not trying to use it in some derogatory way, meaning I just do a lot of loose associative thinking, but I essentially have it like 90% under control because I question the associations, right? Even and if there might be associations that make me feel good, right? Because I'll be like, wow, if this is true, it's not all just conspiracy and bad things, but like it could be something positive, right? That kind of like confirms something that makes me feel good. Um, I have to question. Oh, my daughter's here. Give me a second. She's still gonna be showing up, guys. One sec. All right, I'm back. If you can hear me, okay. Yeah. For those that don't know, my daughter comes in here because she goes to bed around this time, so she always comes in. It's like a almost like a tradition at this point with my streams. She comes in, she tells me goodnight, and interrupts what I'm doing. But obviously, she fucking matters more than any of you. So simple as, right? Um. So let's see here. Oh yeah, the next thing I was. Oh yeah, the schizo thing, right? So I have a lot of experiences like that, but like I've talked to people that think like me, right? That can connect dots. I'm connecting the dots, like the fucking the Charlie meme, right? With the Always Sunny meme with all the corkboard shit and all that. And I can hear these people and I can go, yeah, I get what dots you're connecting, but there's a lot more dots that aren't connecting. Let's talk about those dots, right? And when somebody is that emotionally invested in the dots they've connected, when they're kind of more, like I said, loose associative thinking or macro associative, they get really angry. They get really upset that you're kind of, even if it's something negative, I guess it gives them something tangible, like an enemy or something. Um, oh yeah, it's a yeah game show. That's an extreme tradition, and so there tends to be like this kind of like knee-jerk reaction of like, oh, like you must be one of those bootlickers, or you must be like somebody that doesn't question the mainstream narrative and like stuff like that. I question the mainstream narrative a lot, all the time. I just don't turn my theories about what it could or could not be into like facts in my brain, right? I go, there's smoke. Is there fire? There's smoke. Is there fire? Right? Uh, and I don't just go, I need hard evidence. No, I'm not. That's shit stupid because like the whole point is sometimes you're not going to get hard evidence. So you have to basically do a lot of corroborating and like pile on a bunch of like circumstantial evidence to the point where it just becomes absurd to think otherwise. Because there's not like a video of like a state official or a corporation official, whatever, doing the thing, right? Like it's of course there's not going to be like 90% of the time. Why would people be filming and recording and putting signatures on nefarious shit? But to say that people don't do nefarious shit and hide it is obviously absurd. Now, as far as the algo stuff goes, yeah, it's something that's been going on for a really long time. There's a lot of very long videos on that matter, right? And that's kind of why I fuck with the algo I have with all kinds of stuff in all kinds of ways. But honestly, one of the things that people need to be taught is how to search shit more, like how to dig a little deeper with their browsers, maybe, or just dig or search. Or and unfortunately right now the thing that everyone's promoting thinking like, oh, that solves that problem, is that ground news. I don't know if you've seen that ground news app and stuff. I guess it's a baby step or something, but still you're relying on some fucking bot to tell you like give you like a good, you know. Anyway.
Because an outraged goose is an engaged goose. An engagement makes a line somewhere go up. So now other goose isn't just stuck. They're being fed the same fear every single day, on purpose, by a machine that doesn't care about who it hurts. Number 5. What actually changes minds? Facts help, but only when there's room to hear them. Minds change when other goose feels safe enough to be wrong, when there's trust, when there's slowness, when questions get asked instead of traps being set. Stories help.
Yeah, that's true, active, but like the way people should react to hateful ideas is through like essentially well, obviously countering it, and then on top of that using a sort of form like of social kind of what's the word? If the ideas are truly hateful, I have no issue with social othering. It's the only way human beings can separate themselves from parts of the population that just like, I don't know, want to be just burn it all down, destroy everything, or whatever the fuck it is, right? That's not helpful. It's not useful. And so yes, I don't think people should call that stuff violence. I am not. I do not subscribe to that. But something that is like actively fueled by no like it like tainted fucking bent evidence, all kinds of shit, just to push an agenda that makes that person just feel better. Um, yeah, that kind of stuff should be countered. Fallacies should be pointed out, and it should be like socially ostracized. I'm not saying go around like fucking cancel, like getting people fired and shit, but people should just go, those are stupid ideas. I'm not going to listen to them, and I'm going to actively say they're wrong. Yes, that would be great. And then eventually, people don't want to listen to that person anymore. Or educate people on stuff like this so that they don't constantly make decisions because it makes them feel good. But whatever.
Relationships help.
By the way, why is your text so small compared to everybody else? Is that something you're doing? That's interesting.
Conversations in actual reality help. Gentle curiosity does what yelling never could. Final goose wisdom. Goose has learned. You can't honk other goose into seeing clearly. You can only show what it looks like to change your own mind and survive it, because some geese never leave their bubble. Like, honk, subscribe, or point out how hypocritical saying that is after all that algorithm talk and tell me to go honk myself.
So I don't know how much you agree, but like just some of those basic ideas, you could turn that shit into like a full high school course, right? You could turn that shit into. I notice how dark it is. Let's see if I can open the window or something. Jeez. Now it's too dark. The nightfall has come. Anyway, so something like that you can turn into a high school course. Look how easily it was kind of just briefly explained in 4 minutes. Obviously, I elaborated a bit further on aspects of it. How goddamn useful would it be to teach people this at a younger age? Hey, we humans do this. It's a problem, right? Now, somebody's gonna go, well, they'll never teach that, and I'm like, yeah, the way things are at the moment, you're right. That's why some of that stuff has to change, because these things need to be taught and discussed. These are things that I will be teaching my children, because I know public schooling will not be teaching them. Private schooling will not be teaching them. Nobody will be teaching them except for me, or fucking if they find a good channel on YouTube or something, right? And so a lot of the stuff we see on, streaming services, whether it's documentaries, all kinds of shit, the news, they're just constantly doing these things. And they're constantly preying on these various numbered things that were described. They're all things that are exploitable and easily manipulated. Very, very fucking easy to manipulate. Especially when you keep a population uneducated on the things that they could be manipulated. Which I know is my more schizoid thinking, but I think is incredibly intentional. Incredibly intentional. Distracted and stupid. That's how they like us. And even people go around saying like, well, I know the truth. They're doing shit like this too. So they're just falling into like a different kind of trap. That makes them still just as ineffective at talking about this stuff with other people. So yeah, breaking down communication is a market. All right. Next thing. Not that one. This one. That's for after. Those are the short ones. This one's a little longer, so maybe I won't play the whole thing, but I'll let it play through more and only jump in when I think it is. And I'm only showing you this because, like, this is kind of like me explaining the breadth of the stuff I want to cover, which is just about anything I'm interested in. That was like some, like, fucking simplified, complex shit about communication. This is about an interest I have, but it's kind of connected to that sort of stuff. I'm a horror buff. I'm a horror nerd. I yes, I am the guy that watches all the weird movies that no one's ever heard of. But I try not to be the guy that is a pretentious piece of shit that looks down on people that haven't heard of the same things they have. But I do get annoyed when people claim to be like this horror aficionado or whatever, and they can't even have a discussion about horror itself. So that part, I'm just like, can we talk about horror as like a genre, as a concept, as an idea in fiction? If you're gonna be like, I'm all about horror, it's like, all right.
The horror genre is such
That was crazy.
an exploitable market. Some of the greatest works of art fall within the genre or subgenres of horror, yet that doesn't exclude the fact that, over the years, there has been a ton of steaming hot garbage produced and distributed within the genre of horror. Films, video games, books, no media format is safe from the abysmal shit that is manifested within the horror genre. Recently, I've been pondering about what makes the horror genre work, or
Channel,
more
I always want to
specifically,
say who it is, obviously, because you gotta give credit where credit's due. Otherwise, you make me a complete idiot. This is Max Dio. Yes, it only has 347 subs. They did a really good video 2 years ago on this subject. Max Dio. So if you like this kind of stuff, they have other ones. I can't attest to how good the other ones are, but I like this one.
what makes something scary. Now, horror can elicit an entire spectrum of different emotions from the consumer. Examples for a normal person being fear, discomfort, anxiety. All of these emotions would be labeled as unpleasant or unwanted in most contexts. Books, films, video games that fall within the genre of horror or subgenres like suspense or thriller are designed to provide the consumer with negative emotions. These days, corporations and media push heavily this need for self-care, to take care of yourself and mitigate the things in your life that elicit negative emotions. There are trillion-dollar industries that solely exist on selling consumers the idea of living a better life, known globally as the wellness industry. If we're so focused on caring for ourselves, trying to mitigate the majority of negative emotions, why do we even consume horror media? Believe it or not, we humans get bored. Every day we seek stimulation.
By the way, I just want to say it really quick. The wellness industry, you know what I hear when I hear the wellness industry? I hear, here's a bunch of ways that you can feel better even though you live in, like, horrible conditions or a dystopia, even though you live in a world that, you know, is constantly wrought with suffering. So here is how you could ignore it and feel better and just focus on your life, and then don't do anything about what's actively going wrong in the world, and don't be emotionally impacted. Stop watching the news. It fucks me up. And do nothing and just go do some fucking yoga. But anyway,
whether it be from environment, drugs, or devices. Our brains subconsciously tell us to perform behaviors, some positive, some negative, in order to stimulate mind and body or activate the process of neurogenesis. The University of Virginia, in association with Harvard, conducted a human study that tells humans would rather hurt themselves than sit with no stimulus whatsoever. This relates back to horror films and how they differently affect our emotions. Have you ever sat through a horror film in the theater and thought, holy shit, that was bad?
so this is a reference to other horror thing, but for those of you that are familiar with like SCP stuff, if you don't know what an SCP is, I'd be surprised. You must not be terminally online at least. But there is a story about a place in which essentially it's an SCP that's like heaven, and it gives you like an island full of shit and like stuff you want to some degree, but it's limited, and you're stuck there for like eternity essentially. And the character that was described that got pulled into this like heaven in which time is so slow and fractured that essentially it might as well be eternity, because it's like, you know, every like nanosecond is like like a day or some shit. And so this character eventually gets to a point where they actually start just, and they can't die, by the way, so they start just doing like horrible stuff to themselves, dismembering themselves, like just for stimulation, just for novelty. But anyway, that's like a whole different thing.
Yet you go online a few weeks later and find out the film you thought flopped turned out to be a massive box office hit. What? Which years later spawned dozens of sequels and clones trying to piggy bank off the film's success?
Yep.
Why are these films such a hit, yet have mixed to mostly negative reviews and reception? This goes back to what I started this video with. The horror genre is an exploitable market.
And there are a lot of exploitable markets, but this one's pretty easy to exploit.
This especially applies to the film medium. You'll be casually scrolling through your Instagram or Facebook timeline to stumble across an ad for a new upcoming horror movie. The trailer
I fucking hate trailers today. I fucking hate trailers today. It used to be that you watched a trailer, they showed you a few fucking random things, it got you enticed, it got you interested. You're like, it usually was like a collection of clips and like images that you're like, what the fuck is going on? What is that? I have no idea how that could happen. What's going on? Oh man, that's some crazy shit the narrator's saying, right? And then it ends and it's like the Omen, right? Now you see half the fucking movie in the fucking trailer, and I cannot deal with it. I can't. So I just avoid trailers for most things. Teasers, I'll watch teasers more than I'll watch trailers. I'll watch a trailer. Some people know how to do trailers. I'll watch a trailer. If I see it's just giving away all the plot points, I just fucking bail. I'm like, yeah, I'm good.
shows 2 minutes of the film's best scenes and looks intense and scary. You think, damn, I want to see that. You tag your friends who then also see the
I've literally heard people unironically say that next to me in live as they're watching a trailer like that. And they're like, damn, I want to see that.
ad. You make a date for the cinema, buy your tickets, and watch the highly anticipated horror movie only to be hit with 118 minutes of absolutely fucking nothing. 2 minutes being the cool shit you already saw in the trailer. Sure, maybe the first jump scare will get you, but once you predict them, the films become nothing but
Absolutely active.
a bunch of expositional build-up, and an ending that's disappointing leads towards them making an unwanted sequel, or God forbid, both.
It sucks too because, like, yeah, here's this list of movies, right? And it's terrible because, like I said, hey, sorry if horror is not your thing, or this is me, man. I'm gonna talk about the shit I'm into. Yeah, anything is best experienced blind. Not anything, because you definitely don't want to, like, I don't know, like, tightrope walk while being blind. I'm kidding. Blind death hits different. So here's the movies on here on the screen, right? You got Amityville Horror, I think it's the remake, which was actually pretty decent. Too bad it has fucking, I think it was like a earlier oh god, what's that piece of shit guy called? The Deadpool actor. That guy's a fucking piece of shit. But he was in that. Let's skip these Annabelle ones because these are all fucking trash. Lights Out was a movie that was based on a short that was okay. The short was decent for the time. The long movie, it was like, it should have just been a short. Unfriended, Dark Web, all these kind of movies are kind of whatever. And then you have all these fucking sequels. You know, you got the Insidious 2, Insidious 3, Sinister. The first Sinister, good movie. Good, disturbing film. The original Purge, interesting concept. Now you got all these sequels. The first Paranormal Activity, very good little movie with no budget. Great little movie. Obviously, I don't have to fucking speak for the one on the bottom left there, American Psycho 2. Anyway, what's up? Yeah, he's fucking jacked, but Ryan Reynolds is a fucking asshole. I won't get into it. And so a lot of these are just a bunch of really shitty sequels. And shitty sequels have been around forever. But they still make a lot of fucking money. And the reason they make a lot of fucking money is because people watch trailers, they get bombarded with a bunch of stimulation, and then they go fucking watch it, and then they fucking hate it, but yet it makes a bunch of money, so they keep making this shit. Over and over. So, literally the only way you can stop this is to educate people on, hey, these movies are just there to make a buck. They're actually not as cool as the trailer's trying to make out to be. It's likely going to suck. So why don't you just kind of wait and see what's going on? Yes, there is a... No, it's terrible. It's fucking terrible, Active. How can there be a sequel? It's based on a book. And they made a fucking sequel based on nothing. And completely not understanding any of it. But anyway.
Holy fuck, these movies suck. This marketing and sequel milking trend pretty much killed the Hollywood horror genre. That's not to say it's a recent thing, or that some films haven't broken the barrier and haven't been genuinely amazing.
Hereditary. Hereditary. If you've never seen Hereditary and you want a real horror film, like a real fucking horror film, Hereditary. That's my opinion.
Amazing experiences. Now more than ever, directors are approaching the genre and subgenres from entirely new and different angles, but now I'm getting off topic. What I'm trying to illustrate is that, even though you've probably seen a bunch of shitty or amazing horror movies, both potentially eliciting negative emotions, we as humans enjoy that stimulation they provide. Horror isn't just restricted to films. There are two more previously mentioned mediums that I want to explore. Those being video games and books. Starting, of course, with video games. A lot of you will remember the rise of the horror games trend in the early 2010s. Some of the biggest and most memorable being Amnesia, Five Nights at Freddy's, Slender Man. Their success was paved through the YouTube platform, generating millions of views and immense profit for the developers. Just like with some film producers, other game developers tried to piggyback off the previous game's success, causing the market to oversaturate. Some games being amazing and successful in their own right, while others being cheap and shitty attempts to generate a quick buck. These days, horror games are one of the few. A few years ago, a generic pitch-black walking simulator where the only source of light protrudes from the player's dick used to be considered scary. These days, that shit doesn't fly anymore. Over the past decade, kids have become desensitized to jump scares. Developers need to innovate now more than ever.
Jump scares are for fucking babies. Hot take. I get frustrated with jump scares. Jump scares should be used as a tool to sort of take you out of dread, or to shock you and then move on to the next scene. Those are the only time I like some jump scares. Some movies did that really well. Like, for example, the American version of The Ring, if anybody's ever seen it. I like the original Sadako and stuff a lot. The American version I like for very different reasons. But that movie had a scene in which a mother is describing what happened to her daughter, and it has a jump scare, and it's effective, and it lingers for a little bit, and then it moves straight to another scene. And it's to produce that, like, shock, and then now we're on to something else, and then the viewer's still, like, kind of like, what the fuck? Okay, I guess we're doing this now. Sinister with Ethan Hawke was really good. The sequel too. The sequel, I didn't watch the sequel, but point is, that's how an effective way to use a jump scare. A classic way to use a jump scare is to, like, diffuse the dread, right? So something scary, and then, oh, it's a cat, right? So it's silly, it's corny, but it lets you move on to the next scene. Now, when jump scares are the thing that makes your thing scary, that's not horror, in my opinion. That's just a machine that's used to startle people. Even something like Five Nights at Freddy's. What made Five Nights at Freddy's interesting, what made it horror, was the themes and ideas and the story. At the time, when it was, like, more original, mascot horror, it wasn't the jump scares. The jump scares were a meme. The jump scares were just for clicks and views because you wanted to watch your favorite streamer scream. And that was it.
One concept done right will stop working fairly quickly if repeated 6 times in a row.
A problem that I found myself repeatedly with the Five Nights at Freddy's games is that you know exactly what to expect.
Mm-hmm.
You know an animatronic is gonna scream in your face. And that's really scary the first couple times. But if you played all the FNAF games, that's gonna happen to you a couple hundred times. And that kind of takes the fun away from it. It's as if someone jumps in your face and yells boo. Yes, you get...
Yeah, that's kind of my point. My 5-year-old startles me. She's really sneaky. She'll come up behind me when I'm streaming or when I'm just doing anything because I'm watching something. She'll open the door very slowly. She'll sneak in. It's dark in here. I like it dark. And then she'll go up behind me and she'll say, "Boo!" and scare the shit out of me. I'm being startled. My 5-year-old is not scary. I turn around, I'm startled, and immediately I'm relieved because it's my 5-year-old. Some of the most like dread-inducing scenes I've seen in like movies or games, it's when there is no jump scare. It's when something is subtly there and it's approaching, and the person is ignorant of it, but the viewer can see it's there, and it's threatening, and you don't know what it is or what it's going to do, and the person that you're watching is absolutely clueless. And sometimes it's even quote unquote creepier when the person you think is going to have that moment where they see the thing and it's gone. So the only one who actually saw it was the viewer. Stuff like that's fun.
Scared the first time, but if that friend keeps doing that, you just be like, you're a fucking asshole and you're not my friend anymore.
Sound design. This is what films and video games rely on in order to be successful. This may sound stupid, but sound design is such a critical component of these mediums. Sound is what helps establish
I'm ahead
immersion.
a little bit because it's kind of like meandering a little bit. It's not that the video is bad. It's just I got shit to do. So see, look, one of my favorite fucking games of all time.
The same principle applies for video games.
See, this Faith, the Unholy Trinity. One of my favorite video games ever fucking made. I'm 41. I played a lot of fucking video games. This is one of my favorite horror video games. Like, it's in my top, like, 10 minimum best horror video games ever made. And what makes it impressive, especially if you're someone with, you know, a bit of an imagination or whatever, is that it looks like a fucking Atari game. But the music, the tone, the timing, the story, if you bother reading the notes and stuff, the themes are fucking, they're fucking scary.
September 21st, 1987. My nightmares are getting worse. I have to finish what I started.
That's good.
What I am about to do has not been approved by the Vatican.
Faith is a 2019 game developed by Adolf Games. You play as a priest who arrives at a house to perform an exorcism on a young girl. Inspired by classic films of the era such as The Exorcist and The Omen, it's an 80s
If you've never played it, play it. It's great. If you like horror, play it. It's fucking great. Pick up all the notes, read all the text, watch a video essay if you want shit put together. Great fucking story, interesting concept. The philosophy of it is interesting. It's really thought-provoking shit for a lot of people. Anyway.
Atari and Commodore style game playing off the technical limitations that video game graphics had 40 years ago, with small wads of pixels to represent the characters and environments. I've completed this game maybe 5 times and it still gives me the shits.
Yeah, I mean, this game, I'm not unsettled easily, but some of the ideas and themes, I was just like, oh fuck, like this is going heavy. If you know anything about like some of this stuff, so great game.
But look at it.
Yeah.
Does this look remotely scary? No. What gives this game its edge is its sound. The audio uses the same technical aesthetics as the visuals, with sharp 2-bit MIDI sounds and auditory peaking combined visually with ghastly minimalist sprite art to create a truly terrifying experience. I'm honestly surprised that this game holds up as well as it does. This game is free to play on Steam, and I can't
Well, it was free to play on Steam. Back then, it wasn't the complete game, was it? Yeah, it was like a partial. It was like a short version, but the full game is not free. In fact, they released it recently on the Switch. The Japanese really promoted it. There was an interesting campaign. Anyway,
recommend it enough.
Oh, made by one guy, as usual. One fucking guy made it. Like what the
My
hell?
God,
A few people, but like basically one guy.
what happened to you? Do you think my face is pretty? I have to finish what I started. Schizoid priest. More this.
Well, and what makes it more interesting is the guy who made it was a Christian. Like, he's a believer, but he got his interpretation of some of this stuff and his, like, more kind of philosophical view of it, and what evil is and what is good. You know, I am not a fan of any Abrahamic religion, to be honest. No, it's not because I'm /atheist. It's complicated. But yeah, the way faith is defined in this game, interesting stuff, good shit.
Now you know how important sound is within horror. How do you apply this to other media formats? What if the media paved the way for the horror genre?
Yeah, of course,
amazing.
literature, it's the same shit. It's the
Suihiro
same
Maru,
shit.
Kazuo
There we
Uzemu,
go.
and
One of
horror
the comics
illustrators
is-
of our time. Body horror legends such as Suihiro Maru, Kazuo Uzemu, and most famous Junji Ito have created pieces that extend beyond their culture, seen through the worldwide fame and success of their respective art styles. I recently finished the Tomie collection. It's a hell of a read, and I recommend you read it too if you get your hands on it. I'm gonna be honest, this book is the main reason I made this video.
It's funny too, because like Tomie, it's just, I think it's just Tomie. I always said Tomie. Is it Tomie? Tomie, maybe. But point is, this is old shit. The Tomie stuff was his old shit. He's been doing new stuff. He's really good. Look, I'll be honest. I'm not gonna be like Junji Ito's perfect. No, he's really good. His art's incredible. He's really good at setting up atmosphere. Now his story writing, like when, you know, we're talking like from beginning to end, is hit and miss. But I'm kind of okay with that because I read his stuff for like the themes, the settings, and the ideas that they're kind of invoking. I don't really read them to get like a super fleshed out, really great story. But if you want horror, yeah, he's solid.
Tomie Kawakami, the vitriolic soul of a girl killed by her classmates that roams the earth, drawing in men from all walks of life with her beauty. Their insatiable love leads them to do unspeakable things for her, where their uncontrollable lust eventually leads them to always mutilate and kill her.
And no, it's not just hack and slash. It's a lot more to it.
Against their own will. No matter the manner or method, however, Tomie will eventually regenerate, occasionally as one or even many. No matter how hard you try though, you cannot escape Tomie. Tomie is the lead antagonist in multiple Junji Ito stories, all of which are compiled in the Tomie collection. She's been the star of 20 different stories, some being different chapters to the same stories, however, the majority being standalone short stories featuring different characters and plots. All, however, include Tomie. Some have even received live-action remakes and become animated episodes in the Junji Ito.
Oh god, don't get me started on those fucking. Don't watch any of the Junji Ito animations. Just don't bother. Just don't fucking bother. Don't watch. Do yourself a favor. Don't ever fucking watch. Even Uzumaki, which was supposed to be different. You can watch the first episode, everything, and maybe the last one partially. I don't know, but the first episode was great. Everything else just went downhill. But it was not entirely their fault. It was just a bunch of finance, fucking dumb shit.
Ito collection. Junji Ito, while famous for his grotesque, macabre, and often gory illustrations that take up full pages in his work, is a hell of a lot smarter than you think. Time for a lesson on
subtlety in horror.
Before reading the Tomie collection, I first read Shiver, a collection of individual Junji Ito works, all of which are incredible in their own right.
I'm losing everybody. Nobody cares about this. It's fine. But I just wanted to say, the thing that makes Junji Ito interesting is that he gets like a simple idea, right? A simple idea,
Included
simple
in
concept, and then he turns it into something anxiety-inducing, dreadful, a weird niche kind of fear or phobia, and he turns it into something like far more horrifying.
Shiva is Painter, the ninth story to feature Tomie. Since it's its own narrative, it's understandable outside of the full collection. While I personally don't recommend it, a lot of the Tomie stories can be read in any given order, as they're technically their own separate narratives. So Painter was the first story I had the pleasure of reading. Painter tells the story of successful painter Mitsuo Mori. The story begins with his third open gallery. His portraits are widely successful, and he's begun to make a name for himself as an artist, amassing a following and financial success. In the midst of his gallery, a woman makes her way in and begins examining the art as Mitsuo notices her within the crowd. Now, imagine you know nothing about Tomie. You have never seen her image.
But most of you don't. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. Most people, if they heard of Junji Ito, they just heard of Uzumaki. And remember, I'm not just into this because, well, spooky. Like, I love the psychology of it. I love the historical connections, the culture, how it applies to Japanese culture and all kinds of shit. But like,
image, nor have you ever seen those Instagram theming edits of her.
What the fuck is this piece of shit?
Now read this. It's pages 5 and 6 of Painter.
I like that for this video, they chose to have no audio. Like for this part.
All it took was 3 panels, one after the other. 3 subtle panels to visually communicate that this woman is not normal. No matter the story, Ito has always been extremely precarious about each panel he draws. The subtle details, like the very small linear vignetting on Mitsuo's eyes, the way he's completely cramped within the small panel, while Tomie reserves his dominant presence in the panels around him. The second he's made eye contact with Tomie, he's already under her spell. Within every story she appears in, Tomie is always drawn to leave the reader on edge, whether she's being cut alive by the men who adore her or being deceptively civil to get what she desires. She is never framed within a panel without purpose. This is what creates the atmosphere within her pages and helps give the full page hypergore the effect that it does. This is what makes a good story. This is what creates good horror. 10 different answers. Ask 10 different people what they find unnerving, and you may not even get environments. While
so one of the points I wanted to make regarding this
longest
is
lasting impact.
I am
When done.
Yeah, when done correctly. Yes. So I do not subscribe to the idea of oh well it's all like just your opinion, man. It's all just like subjective, bro. Who's anyone to define what horror is or isn't? What the fuck are you talking about? And I think that's kind of like horseshit, because yeah, you could say that about like what people like and don't like, but when you're talking about a genre, when you're talking about something that's supposed to invoke specific feelings, ideas, stuff like that, no, it's finite. These things are finite. All right. If somebody's choice of horror is just a bunch of shit with jump scares, and they're like, that's the scariest shit, that's true horror, nah. That you just like being startled. That's not horror. You just like being startled. Which is fine. But no. You need dread. You need atmosphere. You need tone. You need various elements involved, right? Now, are there different kinds of horror? Yes. Right. We're talking about something like Evil Dead 2. I don't watch that to be scared. I watch that to be entertained. But there's intent there. right? To create those atmospheres, to have those moments, and it successfully does it many times. When I watch a bad horror movie for laughs, I don't watch it because it's horror. I watch it because it's bad, right? And because it's funny. It turns into essentially comedy. But I don't know. It blows my mind. I can't tell you how many times people have been like, man, this movie was scary. And I watch it and I'm like, I got startled a few times. It wasn't scary. It just had jump scare. It just had like stuff that like jumped at me. And then I went, ugh. And I'm like, oh, that was stupid. That's all that happens. Very different. Anyway, let me show you really quick the 2 weird channels that I found that nobody knows about that might be interesting to you. So here we go. Or I don't know. It might not. Again, irrelevant. I'm going to do what I do. See, but can you see what I mean? I went from like communication and shit like that, which I think was far more interesting to a lot of the people that watch than media analysis and horror and shit like that. I'm gonna just whatever I find interesting, coming from my idiosyncratic fucking perspective on various things. So it's gonna be a fucking crapshoot whether you like the stream or not. Because I will definitely not be covering stuff based on what my audience wants. It's gonna be based on whatever the fuck I decide to do. So here we go. Close. So check this one out. This is a very small channel. It's got 8 subs. By the way, for those that don't know, I essentially curated my algo on YouTube on this account to like give me a bunch of weird shit, because I basically sub to anything that has like a low view count. It has like weird shit in it. I Active, what the fuck are you talking about, bro? You okay? Are you high? Whatever. Almost my pants licked me in the balls? I don't know. Anyway, so this is a channel called Valo. And Valo has no subs. And I think it's cool. It's a girl. She does some kind of like on the fly, I'm guessing, interpretive dancing of just whatever the hell she wants. Half the time she's using like a potato camera, which I vibe with, and I think it's cool. This was from 3 months ago.
Running through meadows where the grass doesn't grow. For me, the night is empty. I'm lonely here, quiet and so cold, silent and afraid. Is love left at home?
So she has like moodier shit like that, but then she also has like some pretty like let's just say there's no oh, by the way, that PFP, that's Blame. If you haven't read Blame, one of the best sci-fi mangas ever created, my opinion. But yeah, then you got Alabama Song. For those that don't know, Alabama Song is a song by The Doors. It's a great song by The Doors. It's probably one of my favorites. But this is some weird, like, version of it that I didn't bother looking into, but it sounds cool. That they were just vibing. Anyway, so that's the small channel that the algo fed me, and I'm sub to them, and I occasionally watch these, and I'm like, this is fun. She just vibing to whatever the fuck song, everything from like songs like this to like more like weird, like heavier noise music-y type shit. I think they've done some like breakcore. They're just laying on the floor twitching and shit. Yeah, I tell you, yeah, I tell you we must die. Yeah, it's a fun song. The Doors, if you haven't heard it, has some questionable lyrics in some portions, but in any case, that's one. The other one is this channel. Now, this is Bioscar, 376 subs. They do their own like weirdcore shit, original shit. It isn't like just a playlist of weirdcore songs or a playlist of like whatever. It's their original shit. They got some good stuff on here. They got no subs. If you like weirdcore or dreamcore or trauma core or whatever the fuck type music, like ambient music and stuff like that, it's good stuff. This was their recent album that came out. When did it come out? It came out like 3 months ago. It's about 22 minutes and 31 seconds, and it's fun. I'll play a little bit of it. I'll play parts of it so you can get kind of vibe for it. Stuff. I like this kind of stuff. Kind of interesting, right? Like I said, 300 and some sub, unknown. Algo fed it to me because I kind of curated my algo to feed me random shit sometimes. And I like novelty. I'm ADHD. I'm an ADHD fucking schizoid. I like novelty. I like weird shit. Very simple. I see weird thing, I click. A simple man with simply strange tastes. Last one. So anyway, that is this very small channel, and so I think I'm gonna keep doing it like this. This already got more views than my average stream, so that's a good sign, I guess. It dropped off when it into like art media stuff. I don't know if the video was annoying or the topic isn't interesting. I always figured a lot of Zoids and stuff would be interested in a lot of stuff. And maybe they don't like video essays or something, which is fine. I know a few people that aren't a fan. I just like that there are people that can get some of these ideas and kind of put them into like a 12-minute video, like that one did. And at the end, I will likely show you weird unknown channel. And that way you can add it to your list of weird unknown channels that you might want to watch stuff on or support in whatever way. It's frustrating because sometimes I find like some really weird channels and I'm like, this is some good shit. Some of this shit is better than the shit I see on the really, really big channel. Like that one, the thing that covered the horror exploitation, whatever, how shitty it's gone. Like that had like 300 subs. That was just a nice rundown of an issue that's been ongoing. Better than some of these fucking, I don't know, hour and 20-minute analyses of fucking like one bad movie. Or whatever. All right, guys. If you like the stream, I should have said this at the beginning. So fucking stupid. If you like the stream, if you like this new layout, the setup, cool. If you don't, dislike it, like just like fucking ratio this shit. If you want to support my broke ass, who at the moment has no fucking job, and it's no fault of my own this time at least. Please support me on Patreon and PayPal. And I hope to basically do streams like this from now on. And the subjects I'll cover are going to vary. So sometimes it's going to be philosophy. Sometimes it's going to be psychology. Sometimes it's going to be media. Sometimes it's going to be political. Sometimes it's going to be this or that. And throughout it all, I will always kind of attempt to show you my perspective of what I consider to be like kind of a philosophically Gnostic direction I take stuff in, which is approaching things with good faith, knowledge seeking, truth seeking, and ready to take apart my understanding of various things that I think are true in order to discuss things further. But in any case, that's that, I guess. All right. As usual, when day is dark, always remember, get fucking mad, but also happy day. And yeah, talk to you guys later. Fuck off.